Hello happy people, Hamza here and welcome back to the channel. In this video I want to show you how to create a table that is one, filterable according to entries, searchable according to also the type of content that is within the table, and on the other hand having images just like this, having icons just like this, buttons, and when you can even style it up according to what you need. And on the other hand, this table will be perfectly responsive on all devices. For example, this is on a tablet, and also this will be on a mobile device. But also I've created a similar tutorial just like this on my channel. In this tutorial I exactly show you another way how you can create a table, but in this case you don't have the image options and the button options, and that's why this tutorial is a little bit way more advanced or has more options than this tutorial that I created. So in case you simply want to create a table just like this, then you have to come back and watch this tutorial. Let's dive straight in and get started. So the very number one thing that you should have first of all is that you should have Elementor. The free version is okay, and you are going to need a plugin, and this plugin is called the Plus Addons for Elementor, and this is the name of the plugin. At the moment I have a pro version. So once you have got the plugin installed and activated, you are going to come over here to the plus settings, and it will take you straight to this kind of window over here whereby you are in position to activate or deactivate a specific widget. In this case we are going to use only one widget, and that is the table widget. So that's why I have it here activated. Once it's activated, you simply hit save changes. The other thing is that you'll have to open up any page or content where you want to add your table, and in this case I have my service page opened up already with Elementor, which is over here. Okay, so once that is opened up, then just like this I already have my page, and what I'm going to do is simply to add a section. So I'm going to leave this table that I have already created, and I'm going to recreate another one down here. Now the first thing that you have to do is simply to come over here to the widgets area, and you're going to search for something called table, and it will show up right here, and simply drag the element over to this section over here. And by default this is what the plus add-ons brings you in your table. So what I simply did was simply to add the title over here, or the heading. So by simply coming back over here, and then I got the heading widget, dragged it over here into my canvas, and then I changed this to Canon cameras. It can be any name that you wish to use, centered it, and then came over here, gave it the color of my choice. That is point number one. The other section is simply now to start working on our table. Now we can use our table as a custom table, or we can simply import a table or content that is already from maybe another Elementor website or another table that we created somewhere else, and we import that data into this specific table. In this case I'm going to create a custom table, and we have to create a table header. So a table header is this section over here whereby you have this column, and column. So we'll have basically 3 columns. So if you need 4 columns, you will also be able to create that over there. To edit our titles in the headings over here, for example, the first one is going to be camera, type, and then the cost. So what we are going to do is under our row, we have to make sure that we have selected the action to be start a new row. And then here, under here, we will select under cell ID, first cell, we are going to name this action as the cell content, and we will name our text field, which is over here, as our camera. Once you have it named as your camera, then we are going to select an icon. And under the icon settings, we have 2 options. One, the icon, or basically to use an image. We want to use an icon. And under here we are going to select a camera icon, which is this over here. Okay, on the next option down here we are going to come and select our very title for the next column, which is over here, and this is basically the type of camera. So we're simply going to change this to type, and also the icon. Which icon did we use here? something like that. I change that to icon. We come to the type under the icon, and then we are going to simply search for mod X, which is this over here. And then here on the other side, we are simply going to add the cost, which is the price of the item. So content is going to be cost. We're going to choose an icon, and under the icon library, we're going to choose $, something like that. And there we go. On the other part, what we're going to do is now to style up our icons. We want our icons to be after the text. Okay, so we come to style, come under style, and we'll have to come down here to the icon stroke image options, and we have to choose under the icon option, we have to choose this to be after. So this will automatically shift to the other side, which is what we did over here. And now we're going to choose our background color for the header. So by coming up here to the header option, we are going to choose the raw text color is going to be black. Okay, which will just simply retain that. And then we are going to choose the background color, which is this, and then we give it a very small opacity, something was like that. And then we chose the border color, which is this color over here. So we have to apply the same color, which is this here, and there we are good to go. And before we actually proceed, what we had to do is also to center whatever is in the heading. So we simply center that over there. Okay. The other things that you can do is simply like to increase the font size, the font face, the icon size, all that you can do. But that's not what we are going to go into at the moment. Now, on the other hand, what we are going to do is come and style the table content. Okay, so by coming over here to the table body, still under the style option, we are going to say table body. All our table content is going to be centered. Okay, so if you look at this, it is all centered. So what I'm going to do is simply come over here to the table body, and we're going to leave it to be centered. Okay, before it was left aligned, so we're going to make it to be centered. And then our text is going to stay black. And then what we are going to do is, number one, to change the alternating colors. Okay, so for the very first one here, I made it to be white, and the second one I made it a tint. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, one is going to be the raw text color. The raw text color is going to remain the default one, which is this text color, or the text color for the content. On the stripe rose color one, I'm going to leave this to be white. And on the stripe rose color 2, I'm going to make this purple, and then I'm going to give it a tint. So the best thing here is to make it like the same tint as the first one. See, just this is a little bit darker. So what I'm going to do here is also just to make this a little bit more lighter, something like that. And then for the borders, we're going to leave them to be solid. So if I make it none, you won't see borders on this body content. So I'm going to leave it solid, and I'll leave it with 0.1, and I'll change this color to this color. Okay, just like you see this over here. And I'm going to change the tint to something a little bit lighter, because when you look here at the top, it was a little bit darker, and here it's going to be a little bit lighter. And that's what I've simply done over here. So now we are done with styling up our body content. Next, what we are going to do is now how to add the entries over here. So coming back here to our content, and then we come here to the body, you realize that we have already 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and we have 3 columns. Okay, so what we are going to do is, one, we are going to first work on the first row, and then we'll work on the second row. So what I'm going to do is simply enter any camera or any camera type. So I'm going to first come here to the image icon. Instead of using an icon, I'm going to use an image, and I'm going to drag or get a camera over here. So I'm going to use this camera, EOS Rebel T6 DSLR. So insert that image, come here to the content. I'm going to name this EOS Rebel T6. Okay, if you look over here, the image is a little bit bigger. It also has a link to where you can buy that camera. And when I click over here to this link, it basically takes me to a place where someone can actually buy that camera. So what I'm going to do is simply get this link. Then I'm going to come over here on my table down below on this here. So what I'm going to do is simply to add that link. That's why you'll see that the name here changes to a hyperlink. Okay. On the other hand, we have to enter the type of the camera. This is actually a DSLR. And what we have also to add on the other hand is the cost of this camera. So I'll say it is $699. And also I can also add here a link to where someone can buy by simply clicking on here. And I can also add the link option, for example, opening a new tab, or even add a nofollow to this specific link. Okay. Or I can even add an image over here on this specific section, but I don't want to add an image over there. So I can simply add a button and I say buy now. However, by default, the button that is made by the plus add-on looks just like this. So what we are going to do is, number one, we are going to style it up to look something like this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we are going to come back here to our style, and we are going to come down here to the body type, and we are going to look up for the option of the button. Okay. And here that button text, we are going to make it to be white. And the button background, we are going to choose a gradient, and the gradient color one, we are going to choose a purple. And then we are actually going to remove the border style from solid to none so that we don't have a border. And then we are going to add a border radius so that it looks rounded. So I'm going to make this something like 10. If not 10, like 15. And then we are going to remove or reduce the button padding. We can simply make here 10, and here I make it 5. And 5. Okay, or 7 and 7. Something like that. Okay. And now what we are going to do is to increase on our icon size over here. So still under the style option, table body, we are going to come right down here to the icon stock image option. Before we came and position our icon after, but now we want the image option. Okay, so we want our images to be before, which is here, and then we want our image size to be over 30. So by simply increasing the image size here, and we can make it something like 100. Something like that. Okay, and you can even add the image spacing before the text or whatever you want. I'll simply leave this at 10, and then I'll update so we can go and see what we have so far done. Once our page updates over here, I'll open it up, come scroll down. This was our very first table. Now let's look at our other table. You see, we have our title, camera icon type, cost, and we have our input over here. We have our link over here. When someone clicks over here, it takes them directly to the page where they can purchase that camera. Or if you don't want someone to leave your page or your website, we're going to come back here to the table, and we are going to come back to the content table body, and we are going to come to our very first cell. We're going to come here to the link and select the link option and select this to be a new tab when someone clicks on this specific link. So once here it updates, we scroll down to our table. When now someone clicks over there, boom, it opens up in a new tab. I'll come back to our preview page. Now we have our camera types over here, but you realize something is missing. We don't have an icon on our camera type. All DSLRs were having something like this. On the other hand, we have our button here, and it has a link, just like as it is over here. Okay, so now let's add an icon to our type of the camera. So by coming back here to the table, we are going to come to the type, So come here to the cell that has the type, and then we are going to add an icon by selecting on the option of the icon. Then we'll select an icon, and over here we will select the icon that we want. So I think I use like something called lens, or we can switch between the icon libraries. Instead of using Font Awesome, we can use Icons Mind, and then we can choose what we want to use. Okay, something like that. And then you can also choose to increase or decrease the size of this icon over there. Okay, but remember, we want also our icon to appear in another color. So when we come back here to our style option, and we come down here to the icon stock image option, okay, just like here we chose to all icons to appear in that color. So the same I'm going to do over here. Come here, select the icon color, boom. Now all our icons are having that color. Now once you are done, now you simply hit update and you are good to go. Boom. Scrolling over here, we have our icon now in the color that we want. We have all this over here. Now we are going to add one more entry. So I'm going to come here to the content, table body, and I am going to delete everything so we can start from scratch. So we have only one row, which is over here. We simply update this. This is what we have at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to add one more row over here, and we can create something from scratch. So by coming back here, come to the table body, we're going to add an item, which is actually going to be a start of a new row. Then we'll add another item, and that item is going to be our camera type. Okay, EOS 7D, I can say. And then we are going to add another item, which is a type, let me say mirrorless. And then I'm going to add another item, which is for the cost, and I would say this is maybe $7.99. Now I can come back to the camera cell, add an image, come here, grab the image of the camera, I'll add the camera over here, boom, automatically the camera is added. Now what we need to do is simply come here to the mirrorless option, come to the image stock icon, come to the icon library, choose the icon minds, then come over here, select the camera or the mirrorless or something else that you want, something like that. This is for mirrorless. And here to the price, we can come to that option. We can add a link to that website where they can buy. We can add the option to open in a new window. We can choose to display a button, okay, and then we can say maybe this is under auction. You can add anything that you want, and you can still add a link to the button itself, and you can still open that in a new tab. Now you realize we have two links over here, on the price and on the button, but on the other hand you can choose not to add a link to the price, something like that. So you just leave it empty. I mean this field over here, and you can add even an icon over there depending on what you want. For example, you can say you want a dollar icon, something like that, and you can show it either before or after. We don't want anything like that at the moment. Now once I update, I come over here, I go to my preview page. It was one row. Now you realize we have two rows. Now how do we add the fill table features over here? Simply come back over here, and then we come to the extra options, and we'll say table searchable. That means we'll have added here the search option, and then table sortable, we'll have added here the sort function, and you can either use entry filter drop down. Someone can simply, when they click over here, they can see the drop down. And on the other hand, you can say on mobile responsive, you want your table to swipe responsive or only one by one. So let me show you how that works like. Now, when someone views this table on the mobile, which is our very last table, and we can say we want it to show one by one, that's how it's going to look like. But you can still customize all this. But if you choose to swipe responsive, that's how it's going to look like. Okay. If you don't want anything like that, you can simply disable it, and this is how it look like. Now, when we go back to our desktop version, and then we update what we've added, the sortable features and the searchable features, by clicking over here, come down to our table. We can even change this. We can say search cameras or camera search. Okay. And then we can enable also this entry table filter drop down, and boom, now we go to our preview page, scroll down, and boom, we have the sort feature over here added, and the drop down, and also the option to search the cameras here. This is the label that we've added, and someone can search here and say we want to only display mirrorless cameras. So all mirrorless cameras will appear here. And if someone wants only to display maybe another type of camera, let me say someone wants only to display 7D cameras, will show up over there. And maybe they want someone to sort simply depending on an arrangement or type or size, or whatever they want, you can simply do it over there. And like I showed you, this table is completely mobile responsive, so you don't have to worry about that. In a nutshell, that's how you can create a table in Elementor with the plus add-ons. And actually you can add images, you can add icons, you can add buttons, you can add fill table features and all that stuff. If you find this tutorial helpful, please give it a like, and if you're new to the channel, please give it a subscribe. And of course, this tutorial that I've just made here is inspired by a comment that I received from someone called Damipra, and who actually asked and said, it looks great, but can you add pictures, icons, or photos in the table header? Well, that is what I have just shown you in this tutorial. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a good time and see you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.